Sort your brain out, mate.
Hi, mate.
Hello, mate. Hello. Oh, look at that.
Hello.
Look at that. Oh, my friend Jamie's joining us.
Cool.
I've got a kettle next to your head now. Can you hear me all right?
Sweet. Oh,
I've got
yeah,
a
yeah.
kettle boiling away with some delicious Travelodge coffee and milk
Oh,
in little packets. Delicious little
Whereabouts
packets.
in the country are you?
I'm in Cardiff Glee.
Oh, mate, that's
In
the last
Glee.
time I saw you.
Is that the last time I was thinking that? I realized that. I said, when did I see George? And that was
That's
when.
funny because I
That
was
was
thinking
that.
that, and I was when you said Travelodge, that's exactly where I pictured because
Right.
yeah, I've got that coming up in a few weeks, and I thought, so it must be around the time that.
Yeah,
that
is that the only time I've actually seen you in live in person? Because I feel
Oh, I
like I
don't
see
know,
you all the
maybe.
time, which is really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause we barely know each other. And
Amazing.
someone you
Yeah.
don't know at all. This is Jamie. I
Hi,
assume you don't
Jamie.
know him. This is
Hello.
Jamie.
Hi.
He's my neurotypical pal who comes on this show with me.
Perfect.
And I don't know if you've ever heard the show. Don't worry if you haven't. But it used to be like I thought it'd be a good idea for me to just like write a whole like essay every week and do like a
Yeah.
speech and record it
Good.
and
Yes.
sort of improvise. I think that's easy, very ADHD thing. I was like, yeah, I can do that every week. What's the worst that's going to happen? And I almost died, obviously. And then so Jamie's come on board to instead make it a bit more of a casual chat about such things.
Yes. Good. Good. Good.
But yeah, lovely to see you, George.
Yeah. Nice to be here.
It
Nice to be
really
here,
is.
mate.
Yeah. Is it sounding all right and everything? Because I'm in the Travelodge in Cardiff.
It sounds good to me, mate. Yeah,
Sounds
it
good.
sounds fine.
Do you
I'm
want to say?
crouched at the side of the bed.
Oh
It's the
yeah.
only place I've got Wi-Fi at the moment.
It's
So.
oh, I thought I was like, I'm here with like various. God, every time I come into a hotel room, I like say to myself, I've got to just somehow. I'm only here for one night, and somehow just keep everything in a reasonable order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm here for like I'm not. I'm there. And I got in at like, well, I got here obviously late, ran to the gig, did the gig. So I've only
Yeah.
been here a very short amount of time, and it's a bloody bomb sign, George. It
I
really.
hate that. I hate that because it feels like I do that in a hotel room, and I think, oh God, this is the real you, isn't it? Like I always
Yeah.
think when at home, my home's fairly tidy, and I like to think I fool myself into thinking that's me. That's partly the way I do things, but it's obviously not. It's my wife, and when I'm in a hotel room, I'm like, oh Jesus, is this you?
Yeah, this is who you really are, isn't it? It's horrible.
Yeah.
Everything exposed. But
God.
gross. But I just kicked a bin. There's a lot of bins under this desk for some reason. The Travelodge are really picking it. They've got their recycling bin and their other bin. I suspect everything goes in the same bin. I don't know.
It
I'm
will
not
do.
trying to
Yeah.
badmouth them, but yes. So this is Jamie George. Hello, Jamie. Say hello to
Hello,
George.
Jamie.
Hiya, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you,
I
Jamie.
mean, partly the existence of this podcast is because I don't know how to exist or speak or behave. And I think that just came across. I just said, that's Jamie. Again, say hello to George, Jamie. And then I said, hello, Jamie. So it didn't, like, none of that sequence was helpful to anyone. But Jamie, you ever been to a travel lodge, Jamie?
I have, yeah.
Oh,
Strong recommend. Yeah.
strongly recommend. It's better than I thought it was going to be. I find that's very stingy, though, isn't it? £3 for the Wi-Fi.
Oh
Oh, is that
yes.
what
No,
you're on?
loose
Yeah, you
stadium
can
one
have
in London. It was like £3.
oh,
No, not doing it on principle.
you can have Wi-Fi, but you'll have to pay £3 for it, I'm afraid. It's not nice. It's not the way to behave, Travel Lodge. Anyway, it's very backwards. So we don't have you for long, George. So I want to get right in there, if that's all right.
Please do.
We're really
Yes.
going to dig deep into your psyche.
Go
It's
for
going to
it,
be very casual.
please.
First of all, yes. So just because I literally did a gig here at Glee last night, it's very nice and it's quite exciting for me because it's the first time I've done. I've been doing myself. Again, strange way of explaining things. I've been performing as myself as a stand-up as opposed to a character
Right.
for the last year or so, since less than that probably actually, but and it's going very well. But this was where I felt like it was a first proper gig.
Yeah.
Basically, they
Yeah.
kept trying to get me to do Anna Man, and I kept refusing, and finally they gave it. What I'm saying,
Yeah.
and it was great. It was really good, but it was like that feeling of come away a bit like I think that was all right. Do you know what I mean? Because it was one of those audiences
Yeah.
like they were perfectly nice, but but you couldn't quite tell if you'd really done well or not. Do you know what I mean? Because they
Oh
just
yeah, I feel like
insist.
that. At Cardiff Glee, you sort of, you don't really. It's only when you, maybe a couple of weeks later, you reflect on it and you can decide how it went.
Yeah,
But that must be strange for you because yeah, I think I've only ever seen you perform as Anna Man and always been
yeah.
blown away. But I guess this is the problem for you. That is such a good and successful character. It's hard. It's hard for you to step away from it, but it's also hard for other people to accept you stepping away.
Very hard, and it's a weird it's a very weird thing. Sorry, I'm just putting my little voice shield, which I realized I forgot to put on. Voice shield, that's not what it's called, is it? Popping shield. Shut
Yeah, I
fuck.
don't.
Okay, I mean, this is really peeking behind the curtain now, isn't it? But I'm just gonna hold it even because I can't be bothered. But um yeah, it is, and genuinely I got into the point with Anna where it was like she was like another person to me, and that sounds
Yeah.
very actory or whatever, and perhaps arrogant, but genuinely, it was her getting the accolades, not
Mm.
me. You know what I mean? It really did feel like that, like this character. Oh yeah, everyone loves her. Do you know what I mean?
That's yeah,
Quite bitter
that's
about her.
yeah, I can totally understand that because that, not that I ever do a character, but on a much smaller level, but it does still affect things. In when I started out stand up, I changed my name. I used my middle name as my surname.
Right.
Um and
Lewis
now
is your
that's
middle.
Lewis is actually my middle name,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh, cool. Yeah.
And it's always been that way. But now
Yeah.
if I ever achieve something or ever see my name in credits, it doesn't quite feel like it's me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
It's not that little boy dreaming in his bedroom, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a
But obviously
stranger.
yours is more understandable
Or
because obviously it's
extreme. Yeah.
completely, yeah.
Yeah, and it still leaves me. And again, tying into the point of this podcast and into the whole neurodiversity thing, which I'm talking a bit about on stage, but it is definitely
Yeah.
this journey I've been on of accepting myself and all that. Even as a
Mm.
45-year-old dad, I feel very weird saying things like accepting my truth and all that kind of thing. But it is like kind of, and then there's that horrible exposure where it's like if you go out as Anna and she says some sort of mad shit, but everyone's like, oh, but she's mad and stupid and she's a character.
Yeah.
Go out and say it, and they're like, oh, that's what he thinks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I'm really enjoying doing some very on the line stuff about bisexuality and stuff. And I'm like, as Anna, you could just say anything, and now they're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, mate, right. You know what I mean? I don't know, it's just quite all right. No. What I mean is, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
but it's
You're a
quite
lot more
fascinating that.
vulnerable.
But I sort of want everything to be true. So everything I'm saying is very, like Greg Davis is a big inspiration for me, the way he does real stories and stuff,
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to bend it a bit but you don't want to be there going, oh, by the way, that bit was true. But obviously I don't actually think that about women or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anti-women stuff in there, George. It gets quite
I've
heated.
heard, yeah,
It's,
people have been
oh boy,
saying, yeah.
I am treading the line. I really am. I'm pushing the envelope. I really am. So anyway, God, before I waffle off on a load of bullshit, but yeah, but that was interesting. And did you become a stand-up before you did? Because obviously you're well known for your Instagram videos, which I love. I think that's why I feel I see you every day because I do genuinely watch them all
Yeah.
the time. Are they just the right tone, just the right level where it's kind of like genuinely funny, but also broad and relevant? Do you know what I mean? Like there's quite a lot of stuff that's
Yeah.
like where people are just doing stuff about, when your mum's like blah blah blah, and you're like, but it's not
Yeah.
actually particularly clever or funny. Whereas yours always has a genuinely brilliant take on
Oh,
it.
thank you. That means a lot because yeah, that is sometimes the thing that I have to keep reassessing is because it's very easy when you're doing stuff on Instagram. You if things are popular, you do more of that thing. But
Yeah,
definitely with obviously I only, at least half of the stuff I do is parenting stuff, and
yeah,
you can get a lot of like traction by just doing an observation without even making it funny. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Just doing an so there is a danger sometimes that you can accidentally go too broad because and then you've not checked yourself. So I think the key is to always try and at least put a bit of a twist or do it in the performance or something like that. So it's actually, I've done some work other than just going, oh, all parents do this and that's it. You know what I mean?
yeah. But I mean, that's a skill in itself to find something that people recognize, isn't it? And sort of like,
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah,
say
I guess
stuff like
so.
that and I go, do you know what I mean? When it's like blah blah blah, and people are like, no, because we don't have your weird brain, mate. We don't. None of us think like that, mate. Although,
Yeah.
although saying that, I am surprised at how much does when I do stand up. So I talk a lot about. I've got this thing which taken me ages to. I think he's all right, and I still need to sit down and have a chat with her. But I talk about how my mum, when I was a kid, used to walk around just going, "Ain't it awful? Oh, ain't it awful?" And then sometimes she go, "Might as well be dead." And it's like, "Fucking hell, might as well be dead." And I talk about how this was just what you heard, like day to day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's just her. I think it's quite a Nottingham's type thing to just go, "Ah, might as well be dead." You know, it's,
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus. But I thought saying that everyone would be like, no one would be able to relate to that, or
Mm.
everyone would be like, mate, that's really dark. You can't say that. That's actually really upsetting. But loads of people are like, oh yeah, and I think, yeah, I think
Yeah,
people just relate themselves as well. They fill in the gaps sometimes, which is quite nice.
absolutely. And there is such a nice feeling in that, isn't there? Because I never really did out and out observational stand up, but when I was doing
Mm.
stand up before I started doing like videos and things like that, so I never even knew that this feeling existed. But of you sharing something that happens to you, and loads of people by either laughing or interacting with your video saying, "Oh, me too," and you think it's such a nice feeling, isn't it? Because it's
It's
going,
wonderful.
"Oh, cool, we all think that thing," or it just feels nice in a different way to just laughter.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Because I guess there's the sort of, oh, we're getting more into comedy now, but I guess there's the sort of
Yeah.
comedian as kind of freak and weirdo
Mm.
who's sort of
Yeah.
doing the clown, I guess. And
Yeah.
then there's kind of the guy who's to do the Steve Coogan thing where he used to go, "Have you ever noticed?" You know, remember that
Yeah.
character he used to do. Have you ever noticed? There's that
Yeah.
kind of, and I guess ideally you want to have both, don't you? Really, kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love the January one you did. It was amazing, George. That was so good. About January, going from December when you're in December,
Oh, the work
and you're
stuff,
like,
like going back
no, I
to
think I
yeah.
just need a month off, to be honest, to sort my
Yeah.
head out, and just the break will sort me out. And then it gets to January, it's like, what have I fucking done? I've got so
Yeah.
much work to do. I've got
Oh man. Yeah,
But
that
that
was
I
from
felt it's funny because I felt that is something that is quite, I guess you could see as a fairly easy observation potentially. I mean, I if you wanted to, but actually for me that sort of transcended into like a point where genuinely I was like finding it quite helpful in life. Do you know what I mean?
oh good.
Just the stuff you were saying, it was kind of really making me go, it's all right, mate. It's all right. Everyone's the same. It was genuinely
Um,
quite a sort of psychologically helpful little video, I thought. So
Oh,
well
that's
done, Josh.
amazing. Because that's that I remember thinking about that one, and
Yeah.
I've had that thought in my head for years when I used to have a proper job. I used to
Yeah.
remember in December everyone going, and me myself going, "Oh, we'll do it, sort it next year, sort it." And every single year in January, you go, "What a stupid idiot I was back then. How did I not
Yeah.
realize that?" Um,
You just think
and
money will just come, and do you know what I mean? In
yeah, yeah,
January, or
yeah, exactly.
it
It's
will
two
just
weeks
be there.
later. It's two
Jesus
weeks.
Christ, we went through our budget. We did a budget. We just had to do a budget, and it's quite. I've never done that in my life, and then just the last year, we've started making ourselves sit down and go, right,
Yeah.
how much did we spend? And it's just disgusting, and
Oh
like
man, yeah.
nothing to show for it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have fun, but it wasn't that much fun. It wasn't as good as a holiday. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we did that last month. We did exactly that. We did a budget and worked out just over the last 3 months, and it was horrifying because I was like, how can we sustain this? And my wife was like, well, that's like we did have Christmas there, but I think yeah, well, every 3 months you've got something, haven't you? You've got a
Yeah.
holiday or you've got. So I'm like, no, this is seriously how much we're
Yeah, we were
spending.
just
And
like,
it's
oh,
such
it'll
a
be all right. It'll be all right. Because, yeah, Christmas at the moment, it's like, right, it's your birthday this month. It's
yeah.
my son's birthday next month. And then we're going on holiday the month after that. So it's like, we're
Yeah.
not. It's just Christmas every month.
Yeah, this is
He's in
just
a bad
life, how
position
much it
to,
costs.
it's, yeah. And I mean, I
Yeah.
say that from the privileged point of view that we had a load of fucking money to spend. You know what I mean? It's like some people
Yeah.
didn't have anything, mate. But still, yeah. Oh my God. Anyway, Jamie, this is Jamie, by the way. Say hello, Jamie.
Hello,
Hello.
Jamie.
So he's used to not getting a word in, aren't you, buddy? Did
No,
you
that's
spend a
fine.
lot?
Yeah.
How was your Christmas? Because it's just the two of you, isn't it?
Yeah, I
So
was gonna say, I mean,
were you
you've
able to
got
like spend £500 or something?
you've got like two
Yeah.
children each, haven't you? So that's the massive drain on you. I'm rolling around in money. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I've got three now.
Three?
Yeah.
How old's
Was
the?
that in your budget?
He was not in any kind of forward planning. No. He's 9 months old, the
Oh,
youngest.
wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
mate, I want another one though. It's mad though, isn't it? I
Yeah.
was talking to Lily Phillips.
Yeah.
She just had a baby and she's doing some very good stuff about it, actually, stand-up stuff. But she was, because she's, I think it's all right for her to say this because she did it on stage, but she's finding stuff quite hard,
Yeah.
And she was like, "Why do you do another one? Why? I can't understand. Can you explain to me why you do it again?" And
Yeah.
that's like, and I genuinely think there's an evolutionary thing kicks in about 18 months afterwards where you're like, you've just
Yeah.
forgotten. Somehow it's like your brain resets.
Yeah.
Wonderful though it is to have kids, just how difficult it was
Yes. Yeah. I
with
think
sleep.
it has to, doesn't it? Yeah. We found with this one, it's all things we'd completely forgotten. I mean,
Yeah,
the sleep, especially. I mean, I know it's boring to talk about sleep as a parent, but
yeah,
we'd forgotten how tough it is,
yeah. I said that completely, by the way, ignoring the fact that women have to actually give birth.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's like I was like, because you can't sleep, and you're like, can't get any work done, can you? They're like, I think Lily was probably referring more to the fact
Yeah.
that she went,
Yeah.
you have to like do this horrendous thing of giving birth. She was
Yeah.
probably thinking more that, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But
You're like, I totally get it. Yeah. Yeah. Same.
100% Lily. It's been hell, to be honest. It's been so hard. But yeah. Great. So, George, a couple of things I want to talk to you about, if that's all right. So, what our new format we're trying now? I've changed the format. I think since I've done 12, this is the 14th episode. I think there's been about 7 formats I've tried so far. I cannot stick to
Perfect.
one, but we're going to do 3 episodes where me and Jamie chat about a thing that's been affecting me or bothering me, and then at the end we get on someone I love passionately and discuss, or someone I respect, someone who's do you
Or
know what I
just someone
mean?
you've met a couple of times.
Or just whoever's up for doing it.
Yeah.
Anyone, basically. No, someone who like I feel like genuinely I go through life and I feel like I'm getting better, and it's all changed this year, honestly, just I guess with the diagnosis and all that, and people, there's a lot of backlash to everyone getting neurodiverse diagnoses and stuff now, and everyone's like, oh, they're just bloody lazy or whatever. But like I'm kind of, I can't tell you how much it's changed my life. And I realized in terms of this, I keep bringing up The Traitors. Are you watching The Traitors, George?
I certainly am.
It's
Yes.
incredible, isn't it? I haven't watched
Yeah.
episode 9 yet, but
Me
I just
neither. I'm with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Just on
But you
it.
have seen episode 8.
I have.
Jamie, you haven't started it yet, have you?
Not at all. No.
Okay,
We've discussed
okay.
this, and I'm going to binge this, and then we're
Yeah,
going to
it
talk
is.
about it.
It's incredible, but no spoilers. But obviously, I've been obsessed with Paul, right?
Yes.
And as everyone has. But I actually messaged him today. I Instagrammed him because I got a bit. I was on my own in the hotel, and I think I got a bit overexcited. And then I realized he's on Chatterbix and stuff. He does Chatterbix, which I've done. Joe Wilkinson.
Oh yeah.
So I thought, oh, I'll just say hello to him and stuff, But I was saying how, and he got back, and he was a lovely little chat. My wife was so excited. She keeps going, what did he say? What did Paul have to say? He's like become like a god. Do you know what I mean? He's like this legend. But I realized I was doing I said this to you, Jamie, because Jamie's working on this new show I'm doing, which is my sort of first stand-up hour that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And and there's a bit in it where I talk about, without going into the whole thing, but my dad and how he was the sort of neurotypical kind of person who dragged the rest of us along. And, and I was trying to explain this bit where I say how he was dragging us along, trying to get us to a normal place. And then I sort of get to a conclusion, like maybe he didn't have to do that. Maybe he could have just sat down and asked us what was wrong. Do you know what I mean? But I was sort of improvising it to myself, trying to write it. And I was doing it for half an hour. I was like, this is amazing. This is really coming out really well. And I realized I was being Paul from The Traitors. I was literally talking and, so if he could have just grabbed them boats and just pulled them in, and just doing that kind of. So anyway, but I think as a neurodiverse person, that's something I do all the time, is just, I can't help it, and I've tried to disrobe these characters. And then I look at someone, and it's not that I'm a best impressionist. I'm not into impressions really at all, but I just kind of find myself just taking them on. Do you know what I mean? And like,
yeah, Is
as
that
a
something that that's really interesting to,
Mm.
sorry to cut you up, but really
No,
interesting
please
to
do.
hear you say that, because that's something that we're always as, so for context as well for the listener. So
Yeah.
we have got, so we've got 3 kids. 2 kids are autistic,
Uh-huh.
but they're still very young. But our daughter, especially, we find everything she seems to learn is just by mimicking or
Yeah.
just seeing something and then thinking, oh, that's the way I do that. I'll do it exactly like that. And
Mhm.
that is, we're always in two minds of whether that's, you know, a good thing, because she's learning to get by and she's learning these skills, and that's how she's navigating the world. But we're also thinking, you don't need to be someone else. You be you,
Yeah.
and you do your thing. And it's
Yeah.
a real battle, because one, it obviously helps her get by in life and stuff, but
Mhm.
we'd never want to get to the point where she's just being other people to exist in the world, because that's not what we want. But I mean, maybe, I don't know, the way that you're describing it there sounds like, wow, you've got this amazing skill where you could go and be that person to write, and then I can be this person to perform.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure, to be honest, because especially with girls,
yeah,
there's the masking thing, isn't there?
yeah,
So we I think we're in the same place where my kids are similarly being assessed, but it sounds
yeah,
like very similar level. And yeah, with my boy, it is much more clear and obvious and simple in a way. But with my daughter, it's much more hidden, and she has learned the way to be like other
yeah,
people.
yeah,
And I really don't know. And it is exhausting sometimes. And sometimes it just happens naturally without realizing it. And I guess it has helped me a lot. But then I guess I did come to a bit of a crisis point, which I'm sort of working out of now, where you're like, well, who am I then?
mm,
And it sounds very like when I was with my mates, when we went to drama school and stuff, we used to joke about this whole, I even had this line in the show, I'm playing so many characters, I've forgotten who I am, that kind of thing.
yeah,
But it
yeah,
really is, but it is actually like that,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not, and genuinely, I'm not saying I'm the best actor, because I really, weirdly, like with acting, I think there's two types of actors. There's ones who put it on, as I'm saying, this mimicry, this kind of, and then
mm,
there's ones who are kind of just interesting as people, I think, or just very in
yeah,
touch with their emotions and able to like cry, and whenever
yeah,
they talk about anything, it's fascinating because they're kind of fascinating. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you, because you also, I don't want
mm,
to be going through life going, because then also I come to the show again and I'll be like, right, how do I pretend to be Paul out of The Traitors? And then I'm like,
yeah,
what am I doing? Why am I doing that?
yeah,
Um, but it is a just, I think there is this line where you're seeing all this world that it behaves a certain way, and you as
mm,
someone who just doesn't fit in the same way, you
yeah,
have to kind of have a bit of that. I'll pretend to be that. I'll do that, but it's not pretending in a kind of devious way. It's just you just have to put
yeah.
it on. So has she got to the point where she get stressed if she's not like how old is she, by the way? If I can
Yeah,
ask.
so she's only so yeah, my son's 5, nearly 6, and she's
Oh,
4,
okay.
nearly 5. So
Right. Okay.
we,
So it's early days kind of thing. Yeah. But
it's really early days, but we noticed a huge
mm,
difference since being in school,
mhm.
uh, and a lot of it, and everything is a lot more rigid now, and a lot more. Um, it's almost like she'll see a behavior and think that's the rule, that's how you behave in that situation. And
Yeah.
if her or anyone else doesn't behave in that way, it causes, you know, huge stress and anxiety. Um, so it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
we yeah, it's because it is so early as well, and every kid is learning different things as well. So there's that as well. You're still learning, you know, neurotypical kids are learning
Yeah.
how to behave in certain. So you're constantly like questioning in which way to try and guide her and stuff like that. But I think the fact that we know very early is a good thing, and the fact that we,
Brilliant.
totally accept it and want to celebrate it and make her be as much herself as possible, I think is uh going to lead to something good. It's just day to day when you navigate it, you're like, should we be pushing her in that direction, or should we,
Yeah.
it's uh
And I
it's
think
tough.
what's really unhelpful that with the backlash thing is this idea of parents trying to make their kids autistic or
Mm,
whatever. Do you know what I mean? Which some people think that's what you're doing. It's really fucking not. Do you know what I mean? Because
no.
the journey I went on with my son initially was like, if you go through such a journey, because do you know what, I was for ages going, oh, but I'll never be able to like play football with him, and it'd just be like a normal dad and son play football. And then I'm like, I don't like football, and I've never played football. What am I
Paul from the
doing?
Traitors likes
And then,
football.
well, yeah, he does. Bloody loves it, doesn't he? Oh, that's going to be difficult when we meet up. I know I'm going to broach that. I'll have to pretend I like it. No, but it's I mean, the other thing is, once you get the diagnosis, you see it in everyone, and you're like, you and your wife, are you neurotypical as far as you know, kind of thing? There's no like,
yeah, as far as we know. So it's my brother is autistic. Well, when we were younger, when he was younger, it was Asperger's that they said, but they don't use that anymore. But
because it was created by a Nazi.
Exactly. Yeah, they're dropping all the Nazi stuff now, which I think is a good.
You can't say nothing nowadays, can you?
Step. But he is, and then certainly recently you're looking at all of the family members and going, oh yeah, of course, yeah. So there's I think there's more. I think I can safely say that there's more. But I think me and my wife, I mean, as far as we can work out, we are neurotypical. But what was my point then? I can't think what my point was.
I think I was just asking if you were.
Oh, right.
You've answered the question perfectly.
Yeah, the answer's yes.
In more ways than you realise.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. So what was the last thing I was gonna say? Oh yeah, so that was the reason we really connected the other day. It was so lovely, George, when you messaged me on Instagram. And it's amazing how social media can be such a force of evil, and then it can also be such a force of good. But where you said, because I put a little thing on, I wasn't sure I put it. I pay Daniel, who does the music on this. I give him a little bit to do a bit of social media for me, because I find it pays itself back, because I find it just so difficult. So I get him to do my kind of, putting on old vids and all that kind of stuff. And I sort of told myself, I'm gonna just put that out now, and I'm not gonna do any kind of earnest posts or anything, because I can totally fall into that, But then I was just sat in the cinema, and I just did a photo. I don't know why I did a photo of myself doing this smile, and I was like, it explains like my autistic smile. I said my brother, who's no longer with us, had it. He works in autism, and he diagnosed himself before he died. But he as in just before he died. But
no.
It's the last thing he said. I'm autistic. But he definitely had it, and I see it in family members and everything. And I sort of put it out. I can't really say why I'm putting it out. Why do that? I don't really know. But what was lovely was so many people got back, and it was lovely that lots of people got back. But quite a few people were like, "Oh no, you're all right. I've seen you smiling. You're okay." Do you know what I mean? And I was like, but which is totally fine. I'm not having a go at them. People saying, I'm like, oh no, that's not the point I was trying to make. But you said, yep, I recognize that. I see it.
Yeah, well, I'd said that to you, and then immediately I thought, oh God, have I said the right thing there? I feel like I've gone, I mean, like, I don't know. It felt like have I said too much, or maybe. Well, anyway, I don't know. I don't know if I'd said the right thing.
But you know what? I'm being annoyingly vague there as well, because I'm sort of like, am I saying I'm autistic? Am I saying, I'm diagnosed with ADHD, but I'm pretty convinced I'm autistic. But it's like, in all honesty, I can't be bothered to get the diagnosis, because it was such a fucking mission to get the first one. And then it's like, but anyway, no, it's just really nice.
But I recognize. So you'd done the smile, and I thought that is the exact smile that my brother has done all of his life. My brother's always done that, and we never really thought that it was. We just thought that was how Dex smiled. But whereas now we've got our kids, and it's funny when we're trying to get them to pose for a photograph, because they just, that's the smile, and it's because they just can't. So every single photo we've got is that. I guess the way we do it is we trick them into smiling at something else, and then we get that. But it's such a, we notice a lot more. There are a lot more traits now we've got the kids that you can then see in other people. I think when my brother was young, people didn't know half as much, and looking back now as well, I don't know if, and this is still the way for some people, but I remember with my brother, it was always like, well, let's try and, no, I don't think anyone really said that, but the view was, let's try and make him normal, let's try and get him to fit into normal, and that felt like the right thing. Whereas now, that feels like, that horrifies me that people would want to do that to my kids.
that's
But
kind
I
of
think that's great.
yeah.
That's why I think it's probably the best time ever to be neurodivergent, because the world is gonna, hopefully, and I think it already is doing, change into, instead of make these people fit into typical society, change
Yeah.
society and
I mean,
make
I
it
think it
accommodating.
depends on how much the authoritarian rise continues of like,
Yeah.
all right, because if that happens, then I think
Oh
we'll
God.
probably hide again. We'll probably go
Go
back
the other
to
way.
like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
no, I'm totally normal, mate. I'm just like you, honest. You know.
Yeah.
But the smile, no, that was it was a big joke. Did you not get it?
Yeah.
But
Oh, I can smile. Oh, I can
yeah,
smile all
mate, look
day,
at
mate.
that. I'm smiling. Mate.
Yeah.
Actually, going back to Paul from the Traitors, I've realized the thing I'm doing on stage, which is quite a revelation, is smiling at people in a kind of like, which he does. You know,
Yeah.
he's telling them something, he's like, because that's what I thought. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's sort of
Yeah.
doing that smile. And it's quite good from the stage because the audience kind of go, yeah, all right, yeah, we agree. Even if
Yeah.
they think this match. Anyway, so but yeah, there is something sad that for neurodiverse people, I guess. I don't know if it's sad, but just thinking about it in that way that we have to literally almost, even our smiles aren't our own in some way. Because
Mm.
like you do, like people were right, I do smile all the time, you know, because I do have happiness. It's not that autistic or whatever people don't have happiness.
Yeah.
It's just when you smile at a time and place you're meant to smile, I guess you just have to put on this kind of
Yeah.
here's the smile, you know.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know, but maybe everyone's doing that. I don't know. Anyway, so George, we've only got you for another 15 minutes. I'm having a lovely time already. I really am. Poor old Jamie's barely had a chance to speak,
Sorry,
but
Jamie.
he's body doubling with me, aren't you, buddy? He's my.
Yeah,
It's like
I've been
bringing your
making
mum. It's like bringing your mum, you know, to a
I've been
show.
making an omelette actually.
Have you? How's it
Yeah,
going?
it's not bad.
How many did you put? Bit of mushroom, bit of cheese,
No, just three. I'm not made of money.
3
Mushrooms and
eggs.
cheese.
Oh God, no, just 3 eggs. It's actually just 3 eggs. It's not even an omelette.
Yeah.
Very basic omelette. So what the point is Jamie, if you could perhaps take us through the last 3 episodes, because I've forgotten everything we talked about. We'll do them one at a time, and just say what we were talking about. And we could pose a question to George from that, perhaps, and see if he can
Well,
explain to me how to live my life.
Mm.
luckily I do have that.
Well
Yeah.
done.
So
He
so
writes things down and everything. He's like,
I've got it
Well
written
done, Jamie.
down. Indecipherable handwriting, but yeah, write them down. We did an episode on gratitude, and
gratitude.
why it's important. Can you remember the things that you said about that?
Well, so I guess the simplest question around that is I've only kind of discovered the idea of gratitude, and partly through sort of meditation, all this stuff, and all these kind of things and everything, and having kids and all that stuff. And I realized I literally didn't grow up with it as a concept.
Mm.
But not that I was spoilt, although, as I said in the thing, I was probably definitely more spoilt than my older brothers, but I was the youngest. But you know, not like I was like Veruca Salt or whatever. Do you know, it's not like I just
Yeah.
want everything and I'm never going to say thank you. It's not
Yeah.
that. It just didn't, as a feeling, you know, in the way hate is a feeling or anger is a feeling or all
Mm.
that. I couldn't understand how you felt it until
Yeah.
recently, and it came more from literally gratitude for my family, for being alive, trees, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Can you say that you understood it, I guess?
I think
Have you had it?
unusually, yeah. I think
Mm.
I think actually, yeah. I think that's probably something that maybe I felt, or I felt like I felt for a lot longer than maybe uh, you'd expect. I don't know why. I think I've always done this thing. And my wife and anyone I told always used to think it's really strange thing to do. But I've since actually read about it, and I think it's something that like Stoics. It's like an old Stoic
Yeah,
technique. But
yeah,
basically, I will close my eyes, and so say I'm lying in bed and I'm a bit bored or whatever. I'll close my eyes and picture that I haven't got a bed and I'm locked out and I'm in the street and it's raining and I'm praying that I could only have a bed to lie on. And then
yeah.
I suddenly go, bam, magic, yeah. And I'm just like, oh man, I love this bed. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's like
That is a lovely way to do it.
it's maybe an example. That's like an obvious example, but I try to do that in other things. Like if I'm going to a gig, like I've got a gig tonight that I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be a bit of a crap gig, this.
Yeah,
And as I'm driving there, I think, okay, well, you're not a comedian anymore. You've just got, your 9 to 5 job. You've got to do that at the weekend, and you've not really got anything going on in your life that you enjoy that much, and no more risks. You're not taking any more risks, and you're not doing anything creative. And then suddenly go, oh no, I really would love that chance to be. And then suddenly, bam, I am doing it, and it's just like tricking myself into feeling grateful, but also as well, like there's a couple of things that, and things happen to everyone in their life, but if people have like died in your life when you're younger, or if you've
Yeah.
had like near death things. I had a near death thing once, and I thought, wow, everything after that is just complete bonus. So
Yeah.
I often think that, and you're reminded of it all the time when terrible things happen, but I usually try and take out of that and think, wow, imagine if that had have happened to me, or if I was that person, I would be praying to have what I've got right now. So I do try and remind myself of that all the time.
That's
And
a
usually it
really
works. I think
nice.
that's what generally makes me continue to be like quite happy about things, because I think bloody hell, I'm lucky.
Did you have that instilled in you as a kid, do you think, or is that something
No, I don't
relatively
think
left
anyone
behind? Right.
ever mentioned that. Not
Right.
at all. I
Because
don't
there is
think
that,
so.
because in a way, what you're saying is not a million miles. It's a much nicer way to put it, but it's not a million miles away from the thing of like, eat your dinner. There's some people are starving. Do you know what I mean? People in
Yeah,
Africa got any food that which I grew up with,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is
It
still
is
true,
that, and
and it is. But that's a more personal and intimate way to think of it. I think it's the Marcus Aurelius thing, isn't it? It's the Stoic thing. He said, "Imagine you've died." And your life's already over. Now just live from there. You know what I mean?
oh right.
They're
Well,
saying
that's
the same
yeah.
thing.
I
But
probably have read that phrase. I couldn't have quoted it like that, but yeah, that's exactly it.
yeah,
That's it. It feels like everything. Uh, well, that you've summed that up brilliantly. Well, Marcus Aurelius has,
Marcus did
but
it first, and he put it even better than that, to be honest.
but
Um,
that exactly if you think that, wow, all of this is a bonus and all of it is fleeting, like,
yeah,
so I always think that as well. I remind myself it's so easy in life to think, oh, if I do this, then I'll be happy, or if I get that
mm,
thing, then I'll be
mm.
happy. And that I think if you think like that, it doesn't really ever come. I think,
I think,
wow, imagine if I can make today, if I can be happy today and
yeah,
tomorrow, make my life right now, make me feel happy, then you've won. You'd never
hundred
have to get,
percent.
that's all. You've completely beat the game then, I think.
Especially in the arts, because you constantly think it in the arts as they are,
Yeah,
especially in the arts. But you're constantly thinking, am I do as well as that person? Am I,
yeah,
should I be further on? I feel like I should be further on. I've done all this work, everyone thinks I'm good. Why am I not fucking blah blah blah? But I
yeah,
mean, on one level, I've met people who have made it, and they're often significantly
yes,
less happier than I am, I'd say. And
yeah. I was
yeah, so
just
that's
about
a
to
real
say that.
revelation, especially when you're in your 40s and you got kids or whatever, and you're like,
Yeah.
I know I need to be happy now because I mean,
Mm,
we need to ask the next question, but just to bring my brother back for a sec. So he actually nearly died. Um, he'd been ill for a long time with kidney stuff. He's always had stuff, and he had a kidney transplant, and then he nearly died. And we sort of literally said our goodbyes to him, literally on life support.
yeah,
And then the next day just got better, just started getting better. It was really,
yeah,
and they didn't know why. And they said, like, when it gets to a intensive care unit point, literally they have no idea why some
wow,
people live and
yeah,
some people don't. There's no reason for it. And this is doctors talking, what
yeah.
a bloody doctors no way. But no, but and then he did die 5 years later of a different thing. But I mean,
Mm,
it was a case of the original thing, knackered his immune system. So, they are related, but it wasn't the same thing. But
mm,
in those 5 years before that, I always got on with him, but in a way, but I never really liked him that much, if I'm brutally honest.
mm.
He could be quite odd and I think he'd learned as an autistic person, maybe learned weird things or do
Right.
you know what I mean? Mannerisms that
Yeah.
could be quite unpleasant sometimes. And it was like he had that moment. And then those 5 years, he was just this walking on air and just
Yeah.
so happy and living his life. And when he died, it was like, even though I was very sad, and he became my best friend in those 5 years. It was so
That's
weird.
amazing.
I never
Yeah.
had been really before. And then, and helped me with loads of this kind of stuff, and literally paid for like my first Anna show, like gave me some money towards accommodation, all that stuff. So we were skint at the time, and it was brilliant. And
Yeah.
But when he died, even though it's so sad, you know, and I was very sad and I miss him still, but it's still, I was like, oh, there's nothing needs to be said.
Yeah.
Now there's nothing missing because you fixed it. You made for yourself. Do you know what I mean? You made it. Those last 5 years were worth, you know, 80 years of someone else's
Yeah.
life away. Because
That's
you,
amazing, man.
anyway,
That's
yeah,
so
yeah.
good. Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's
nice, isn't
that's
it?
such a nice. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
brilliant.
even because the thing is, like, everyone, when you bring up death, everyone's like, oh no, you know, which
Mm.
understandable, you know, is very sad, but it's like it's going to happen to all of us. So, like, in a way, it's good to talk about it, and it because
Yeah.
there are, like, weirdly, that's a happy story in a weird way.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what
it's
I mean?
lovely. Well, that thing that you just described is exactly what. Yeah. If he had have died that first time, those 5 years are what you'd pray for. I mean, you wouldn't even
Mm,
dare to dream that big, would you? But
mm.
imagine that if I could have 5 years where suddenly I get the brother that I always wanted, and he gets the
Yeah,
relationship with me that he always wanted. I mean, it's just perfect. Yeah.
I think with his kids and everything as well, you know, who are now in their 20s, you know,
Yeah.
but he was like
Wow.
a different dad in those 5 years. And not that he was
Yeah.
a bad dad before that, but he was, you know, he was just really there for them and really helping them.
Yeah.
And it was really sweet, you know. Anyway, as always, I've got 6 minutes. 6 minutes left to do 2 questions. What's
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So ironically, the next one was about derailments and
Derailment.
distractions and focus.
So to put it in a nutshell, I was having a day where I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I had it all planned out. And then a friend of mine spoke to me and completely innocently, but said how this thing he'd heard sounded a lot like my character Anna Man. And it really derailed my whole day. And I was like,
Yeah.
why did you say that? What am I meant to do with it? So, but I did various nice things. And what I described in the episode, it was like the end of Avengers Endgame, where the portals opened. I just opened the portals and let through certain good things. And I
Wow.
eventually did get
Yeah.
back on track. But do you find something can derail your day that easy? And how do you get back to it?
Completely. That is the example that's the most relatable thing the thing that you just said. That happens to me a lot. Someone might say something, and especially as well, you know, when you're doing like the jobs we do, and you sort of
Mhm.
put yourself out there a little bit. Sometimes you feel a bit vulnerable, and someone
Yeah.
might say something. You think, oh, and then I find that um, there was I did something recently, and someone said to me, "Oh, it was a good start," and to me that was like they'd gone. Uh, Not bad. A lot of room for improvement. And then I just had this thing in my, and I was just in this
Awful.
bad mood all
Yeah.
day, and I felt something in my stomach all day, and I thought, what's bothering me today? What's bothering me? And it was that thing, and it was like, they, it was just in a message. It could have meant anything. I remember I told my wife
Yeah.
about it, and she was like, "Yeah, that's fine. That's a perfectly fine thing to say. They've said something nice," and I'm like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
but I find that I carry it, especially with stuff like that. I don't think I'm thick-skinned at all, so it's hard not to let that derail you, because you get to the end of the day and you think, "Oh, I've had a crap day today," and you think, "Well, I haven't really. I just felt that thing about that thing, and
Yeah.
it's
The
probably
rest of the day was
completely
totally normal.
wrong."
I just had that.
Yeah, and
Yeah. I think,
I think that just sort of like realizing that you're in control of about the way you feel about something. You can't really control what other people say or what they might mean, but
mm,
often I find if you think of a million examples in your head of the things you've said or things that might be taken the wrong way, it
mm,
almost certainly the person saying something means something different to the person
yeah.
understanding it. And I think as long as you can just disconnect yourself from that a little bit and accept that, I think that's the way of doing it. But it's hard. It's so hard.
I've started now when I think I've done something like that, I just immediately text the person
I was
back
Yeah.
just about to say,
and say,
so
when
the
I
next
said that, you know, yeah, sorry, Jamie.
the next episode was about friendships, and I was just going to say, I remember when we were working on Death of Anna Man, you'd done something, you performed it for me on Skype, and I said something like, the building blocks are there, or it's all coming together, and I think, and because we were friends and I know you, as soon as I put the phone down, I then sent you a message saying, I've just realized that's absolutely the wrong thing to say. What I meant by that was, so, you know,
Yeah.
friendships are important because you learn the rules of
Yeah.
combat.
Uh-huh. I mean, on the opposite side of that, sometimes you do have to listen to those voices Because, for example, in my shows, I always get, like with Deaf Fan Man, I always get to a point where I'm like, brilliant, it's done. No one say anything. It's finished. And then like my producer, particularly Owen, he'll go, yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. You know, he'll say something. I'm like, what do you fucking mean? It's done. And then he'll like, but he's always right. You know what I mean? He always has a thought that then leads to like a much better ending or whatever, you know?
Yeah, totally right. And you'll probably find maybe a month or so later, you can go, oh God, yeah, I needed that. He had to say that to me and I had to
100%.
feel those things and then make it better. And we're in a better place now. But in the moment, it's really hard to...
horrific. You're just learning...
deal with your emotions, yeah.
You're just starting to learn the boundaries, I think. Over years, you just go, okay, that person is what, even if it hurts, listen. And that person, bless them, they don't know what they're on about.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Don't worry about them. Yeah. Great. So, George, we've got to let you go, man, because you got something to do. We're a minute off. It's been lovely.
Yeah, it's really nice to chat.
Thanks so much, mate. It's really, really, genuinely, keep doing what you're doing because it's very helpful. Not that you need my help, but where can we find you, George, at the minute? What you up to briefly? And
I mean, I put everything, my main channel of doing everything is through Instagram, which is George Lewis Com, but that is where I advertise shows and stuff. I'm working on like an hour show at the moment, so I'm just about to start next week, work in progress of that.
Great. Edinburgh.
And then hopefully tour next year. I'm going to do a bit of Edinburgh, but that is that's something that I find I don't like going up there for the whole month. I find it so much pressure, but also with the kids and stuff like that, it's almost it's financially reckless to go up there. So I will, I think, go up there for a short while while it's still a work in progress show, and then tour it in the autumn. But yeah, I'm trying to get the show together now, and I've got first work in progress is next week, and
I'll try and see one, man. I'll throw in some. Be like, there's some potential there.
Yeah. The building blocks are there.
Keep trying. You've got something. Keep digging. You'll find it. No. Well, maybe we could do a double bill one day, George. That'd be nice.
That'd be lovely.
Double
That'd
up.
be so nice.
Literally, I want to do that just so I can see you.
Yeah, me too, man. That would be great. Well, I was hoping when we were mentioning this, I was thinking, because sometimes where you are at the moment in Cardiff, sometimes you find yourself, because you're there's a similar break between it, isn't it? So sometimes you find yourself back there with the same group of comedians, don't you?
Yeah, it's
and
true.
I was hoping that maybe we'd
that'd be nice
again there. But
that slightly awkward green room where you all sit there waiting for your dinner. It's really weird, but lovely. All right, lovely.
All right, mate. Well, I'll see you soon,
George.
definitely.
Great to see you, man. I'll let you go. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, nice one. Bye, Jamie.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, man.
Sort your brain out, mate.